Sales are down in the Huntsville area market, and the Wall Street Journal recently reported that home sales are down to the lowest point since the last Great Recession. But before we jump into that, make sure you hit subscribe below to stay on top of all the latest Huntsville, Alabama real estate news. With home sales slowing all across the Tennessee Valley, average sales prices have actually stayed relatively flat, especially in the Huntsville market and also in the Decatur market. The average sales price in Athens, however, has dipped dramatically year over year. Huntsville was $371,000 is the average sales price in 2022. It's dipped only $1,000 to $370,000. Decatur market is relatively flat as well, $256,000 last year, $257,000 this year. The big storyline is really the Athens market. Last month when we did the market report, Athens had the same average sales price as the Huntsville area, but that has dipped dramatically month over month and really year over year as well. Last year, the average sales price was $356,000. It dipped all the way down to $328,000. You know, on surface, you would think, hey, there's a huge dip in Athens in terms of price decreases. That would be over a $40,000 price decrease. However, what probably happened in this month was there was just lower average sales prices. You know, it wasn't necessarily the same home was selling for less. There were just some less expensive homes sold, especially as a lot of new construction's hitting available in this market around this time of the year. And so that is likely the explanation. So we'll really want to look at this in October, November to see if Athens regains the momentum it had in pace with Huntsville in terms of average sales price. New listings are also down 11% year over year. 1,314 listings, new listings in September versus 1,477 this time last year. The big storyline really is multifamily, where they're down 25.6%. We really need more multifamily across the Tennessee Valley due to the affordability index that we'll be talking about here in a minute, because multi-family homes are simply more affordable. We need more of that supply to create more affordable housing. So the 11% dip in new listings makes perfect sense, as a lot of people are locked into this kind of what you're calling a mortgage rate lockdown effect, where a lot of would-be sellers have interest rates in the high 2s or low 3s, and they're simply not willing or able to sell at this point due to the higher interest rates and what that would do to their payment if they were to sell and rebuy. Pending sales in our area fell below 1,000 for the first time in a long time. They were down 11.3%, down from 1,031, which was a slow September of 2022, down to 914 in 2023. And September was really kind of a pivotal month last year, where we saw continued rising rates, which dipped sales for Q4. We're starting to see that again in 2023, where sales are actually lower than they were even in 2022. Closed sales are down 22.4% year over year. 1,323 closings in September 2022, down to 1,026 here in September 2023, which makes sense on what we're seeing on a national level. Like I mentioned before, on a national level, we're dipping to an annualized sales basis of about 4 million homes annually sold based on September data. That's in comparison to what we were seeing just a couple years ago, which was north of 6 million. So a big drop in terms of the overall number of homes sold. With home sales slowing, the days on market continue to increase. We were at 19 days, which is really an unheard of number this time last year. We're up to 30 days on market now, which is still one of the lowest days on market that I've seen throughout my career in real estate. So we're much higher than we have been, but we're still well below what you would typically see in a normal real estate market. The percentage of list price received has actually stayed relatively flat over the last year, 98.9% last year versus 98.7% this year, which is still what I would consider kind of a seller's market on the surface. You know, anything that's north of 97%, I would consider more of a seller's advantage. You know, typically, as I've been selling real estate throughout my career, you typically budget in at least 3% negotiations towards the buyer. And so since we're well north of that, you would consider it a seller's market. However, I think that number and that stat is misleading, because there's a lot of builder incentives that's simply not getting priced into this in terms of design credits, interest rates, fences, closing costs, those type of things. and those are well above that typical 3% negotiation range. And so I wouldn't take too much stock in that stat, because a lot of sellers, especially builders right now, are highly negotiable in terms of the sale of their home. As we've been reporting, the Housing Affordability Index continues to take a hit here in the Tennessee Valley. Last year, this time we were at 91. We've dipped down to 83, which is well below scores that we saw just a few years ago in kind of that mid 100 range, around 150 or so. Just a quick refresher, a Housing Affordability Index, a score of 100 means the median income, the median household income in our area can afford the median price range home. And unfortunately, at a score of 83, the median income can no longer afford that median or that kind of the average home in our area. And so that's really a challenge, as a lot of people are now having to look to the outskirts of our area. Nurses, police officers, teachers, those type of occupations are oftentimes not able to afford a home in our area, which is going to be a big challenge for Huntsville moving forward. With closed sales dipping 22.4% year over year, you would think inventory would start to be racking up here in the Huntsville area. It really hasn't. It's only up 7.9%. You would think it'd be much higher, but really it's a byproduct of the listings also being down. The listings are down 11% due to that really affordability index, and also just the low interest rates that a lot of people have locked in. The month's worth of supply is also up. We were sitting at only 2.4 months worth of supply this time last year. We're up to 3.1 months worth of supply, which is still technically a seller's market. Anything south of that 4 to 6 months is considered a seller's market. Anything north of that is considered a buyer's market. And technically speaking, we're still in that seller's market range, but we're quickly approaching a more neutral market. So as everything with real estate, it's all about location, location, location. Just as homes in California are moving at different prices and different momentum as they are here in the Huntsville area. But even here in Huntsville, it depends on the price point and also the school districts and the location of the home. I'll give you an example of the price point. So any home that's above $800,000 or above, we have 216 active homes on the market, with only 26 homes sold in September. So that's about almost 9 to 10 months worth of supply in that submarket, which would be a buyer's market in that price point. But then if you look at, say, 150 to 199, we have 195 active homes versus 112 that were sold in September. So that's less than a month and a half's worth of supply, meaning that's an extreme seller's market for that price point. And so as you're shopping out there, it's really important to get with an educated realtor that can look at the data to be able to advise you on what kind of submarkets that you're in, to be able to know what kind of negotiations you can offer to the seller.